Alrighty.
Good.
What a mix-up.
Yes, indeed. Hello, everyone, and thanks for joining us. We are so sorry to be late, and let me just get some technical stuff out of the way here so I can make sure I'm all set up here. My second screen is deciding to do funny things.
We had a time zone mix-up.
A little bit of a time zone mix-up, but we are
here, though.
Yes.
45 minutes before we thought we were supposed to be. Anyway, that is our fault, and sorry you were waiting.
Yeah.
Okay, where do we get started? You want to kick us off, Crystal?
I do. I just want to get my notes up here, make sure that I have my notes for this. So just one sec here.
Sure. For those of you that have joined before, welcome to another What's New in Synchro webinar. We always have a lot of fun with these. For those of you who haven't been, welcome for your first time. In these, we tend to go over all of the different things we've released since the last one. We've got some really fun things this time, and then we'll leave time at the end for Q&A. Okay, go ahead.
I am ready now. We are ready. We are good to go. Okay, so let me go ahead and share my screen. You're seeing Syncro, right, Ian?
Yep.
Sure. Okay, perfect. All right, so let's just hop right into it. As Ian mentioned, we love doing these. We love showing you all of the new things that we release over the last, several weeks here. So first really cool thing, this was like a quality of life improvement for sure. So I'm just going to head over to customers. What we've done is given you the ability to archive customers. And so really it's basically just an action on the customer detail screen. You can archive. To be able to reference those again, you can just head over to just the main customers page, show archived, and you can take a look at all of these archived customers. So what this actually does on the back end, if you're going to create a ticket or an asset and you go to search up customers, if you've archived that customer, they're not going to be there. They're not going to be available for you to add a new asset or create a new ticket for. On the flip side, this allows you to, if at any point you want to bring that customer back, maybe they, went away for a couple months, stopped paying their bills, and then all of a sudden they decided and remembered that they needed you. You can always go back to this customer, and then once you're here, you can see it right off the top there, this banner, this customer is archived, but you can go to actions and you can re-enable this customer. So hopefully this allows you to just manage your customers a little bit better so that, it's a little bit more clear. You don't accidentally start typing a common name and have too many options if that actually isn't one of your customers at that time. All right, so let's see here. What's next? Oh, custom memos for both invoices and estimates. So really, anytime you create an invoice or an estimate, let me just go to one and I'll show you. I can't remember if you have to be creating it for the first time or if you can add it here. Okay, so invoice message. It's the same on an estimate, so it'll say estimate message. You have the ability to just type whatever you want there. And then we do give you a little bit of instruction because the main thing is just by typing it there, it doesn't necessarily show up on the template. So you have to make sure that you add that message or memo template tag to your actual PDF and email templates. So we give you a little tooltip letting you know that you do have to do that, but just letting you know if you do just head over here, you can go to PDF and email templates, head straight into your invoice template. We did, I think our last webinar, we showed you that you have invoice templates now. So make sure if you want that memo to go on all of the different invoice templates, you add that tag to all of them. But really all you have to do is edit the invoice. Since this is super easy to use, so instead of maybe you don't have a disclaimer, but this might be a great place for you to put that invoice message. So you can just grab that tag here from the right-hand side, place it here, and again, make sure you put it on all your templates if you want it to go and be available for any customer. Also, if you leave it blank, it just will not be there. It's not like it's gonna like have like a big blank thing. So that's kind of the ability to kind of communicate one-off information to your customer, which was, again, really highly requested. All right, let's see here. I'm going to head over to Bootstrap Scripts. So again, this was huge and highly requested. Our scripting engine is so powerful. It can do so many things. And so what we were getting just requests like, hey, can you just throw some common things in here, you know, some templates so we can have an idea of, you know, the power. And then what's nice is that they do come bootstrapped. What was even better is that if you didn't have like an account or if you had a trial or an account before we released this, we actually updated your library as well. So anything that's in here, anything that we've added, you can hop in here. You can always edit that script. So we just made these a little bit more available to you, definitely by your request for sure. And for those of you that are new to Synchro, just letting you know, we do have a full community script library as well. And so anything that you see here, the other day, I knew that it could do this, but I thought it was really kind of interesting, like just filtering by the amount of installs was kind of cool because you can immediately see the top used scripts and it might spur some ideas. Oh, I could use that. I don't have to rewrite it. Anytime you take it from here and import that to your scripts, you can edit it at that point. So if there's anything you want to add to the script or edit and that kind of thing. Let's see here. Oh, well, this is a huge one. Obviously, Synchro Chat. Humongous build. And Ian, of course, if you have anything you want to add to this one, because this was just such an amazing release. Our dev team looked at this from every single angle and just made this pretty amazing. And what's even better is that I'll kind of explain this as I go through the different possibilities, but we released it. And then we had such amazing feedback that then like in a week's time turned around and released like 6 other things just because it was stuff that you guys asked for. So the nitty gritty of it is, of course, you can start a chat from here with any endpoint. So like if you want to start a new chat, you can either search by customer or if you know the device name, so you can do that either way. If you start with a customer, it'll give you a list of all of those devices. It's phenomenal that it gives you information about the actual asset, which it's just super helpful. You can stay right on this screen. One thing that was requested was adding this option to just launch straight into a Synchro Live session from here. So that was one of the things that got requested that we added right away. You can see from here that you can create a ticket straight from here based upon permissions. And this was another thing, of course, by adding chat, we added a whole slew of new security group settings as well, whether it's being able to create a chat, see a chat, assign a chat, all of these things to just make sure that this is secure in your environment. But you can reassign chats from here. You can end the chat, that kind of thing. From the customer standpoint, a few things that's worth just mentioning because I had run across this, that the way that you enable chat for your customer is you do it on a policy level. So you add that to the system tray icon, which just makes it super easy for them to initiate a chat also. So if you head down to the system tray icon, and as you can see, I've added a ton of things here, but this is where you set up live chat. So the menu type is live chat, but you can call it whatever you want, of course. You could even, white label it and put it your business name chat if you wanted to. And then you have an unavailable message also. I think if I remember correctly, we have a really great video on this, but if I remember correctly, I think it's if you haven't responded to that chat within 3 minutes, it pops up a little message that you're unavailable because let's be real, like you can't have technicians just sitting waiting for a chat all day. So it makes sense that they might not be available. So having an unavailable message is here and it's customizable. So that's how you enable that for the actual customer. Maybe what we could do just really quickly too Gotta love live demoing. So let's see if I have an online machine. Let's just launch right into a Synchro live session. The other thing that we did add too, just since I'm here, is you can launch a chat straight from this quick view modal. I talk to folks all the time that don't even know that this quick view modal exists. I love it. You can see a thumbnail. You can do a ton of actions here. But I'm going to go ahead and start a Synchro live session and just hop right into a remote desktop connection, because I just want to show you. So from a customer standpoint, it's here. It's right in the system tray icon, live chat, and they can start talking to a technician straight from here. So there's a lot of value you can see right away from being able to chat with your customers. They can get a hold of you in a super efficient way. You can attach any of this to a ticket. The other thing, I'm trying to remember all of the things that we released based upon this because it was so much. The other thing was from a customer details screen, you now have the chat history right here as well. So you can always reference who talked to when, if they call you and said, well, so-and-so said this. Now you have a record of that. I'm just gonna look, let me make sure. Oh, the actions, I think we added it here, new chat. We just listened to everything that you guys wanted and we pretty much did it. So I think I covered most of it. Of course, we'll be at the end. We'll save some time for Q&A. So if you do have questions, either use the Q&A or the chat box, whatever works best for you. All right, the last thing I'll talk about before I hand it over to Ian, we added a new report and it's pretty phenomenal. So let me head over to reports. It's called the Asset Aging Report. So it's right here. Now, I'm gonna go ahead, let's do, oops, not that keyboard. Let's do Larry and let's run this report. So, okay, at the very minimum, you can see right away what an amazing selling tool this is. You can see right away, you could send this to your customers if you wanted and just let them know, hey, this machine needs updated, maybe it's out of space, like all of these things. And it gives you kind of a high level summary and then it breaks it down individually. And what's nice for you, not necessarily like obviously customer facing, but for you, if you want to dive into this machine and look at it further and that kind of thing, you absolutely can do that from this screen. The other thing that's nice about this is a report that you can schedule. So if you wanted to send this to your customers on a quarterly basis, again, a way to add revenue for your business, because hopefully they see that these devices need replaced and you're the one that's going to replace it for them. So this is the Asset Aging Report. Let's see here. I think that's about it, and I will hand it over to Ian.
Okay. All right. Let's talk about security. So we added a new system for API tokens that is more secure. It uses the, I'm blanking on the term, minimum required access. It's something like that. Basically, we used to give you one API token that you could, one API key for each user, and you would use that to integrate things to Synchro, and that's all good and fine, but this is better. So we released this. This is API tokens. What it lets you do is create an API token and specify what permissions it's going to need in order to function for the integration you want. So you can make a new API token just for the PAX 8 integration, or for Zapier, or some other application you want to integrate. And what it's going to do is you can, you want to click show all permissions. There are a bunch of different permissions, and you can choose what that API token should be able to do. And this will make it so that you can give it the minimum access. And that way, if for some reason the thing that you're integrating Synchro with, let's say that thing gets hacked, they only have the ability with your API token here to do the minimum, not do everything. So this is like a general best practice in the security world, and we wanted to implement it. So we now have this. We have some pre-built app permissions here. We'll probably add to this, but we just wanted to make it easy for you to create tokens. Of course, if you go to custom permissions, you can make a fully custom one. You can even make them expire after a certain amount of time. So if there's a, maybe you need to import something into Synchro, and you really only need this API token to work for a week while it's importing, you can have it automatically expire. Again, just kind of a best practice in the security world. Okay, next, mobile app navigation changes. So we made some changes to the way it's kind of hard to show here, but the mobile app now has a new menu at the bottom. You can go into your settings in the menu and switch around which items you want to show up in what order. It should just make it a lot easier for you to navigate through the mobile app. We also made it so you can reboot assets from the mobile app. So changes there. Okay. Next. Scripting. So this is more of a quality of life thing. We added this checkbox, skip offline assets. So if you don't, what would happen before is this checkbox didn't exist. So when the computer came back on, it would run the script, and sometimes that's not desirable. So we enabled you to skip assets that are offline, and therefore you only want to run it on the computers that are online right now. This is also in the policies, by the way. So there's different parts where you can take advantage of that new checkbox. Okay. Ticket, the template tag for ticket comment emails. I will wait till you get there, but we've basically added a small improvement to one of our ticket template tags. It's the ticket public comments for email. You can now provide your customers with a nicely formatted grouping of each public ticket comment within a ticket through a single tag. So pretty helpful. Okay, let's get to the fun one. I know you guys have been asking for this for years. Feel free to make fun of me. It was a lot of work, but we are now Hipaa compliant and we can sign BAAs for you. There is an app card in there that shows you how to do that. Many people have already taken advantage of it. And now you can stop complaining to me. And I'm sorry it took so long. Yes, so fun. It's unfortunate that I don't have more to say there because it's such a big thing. Okay, happy to answer questions about that if you have them. Last thing from me, we also launched this. This is like a sneaky cool feature that's actually huge if you know what to do with it. So this is Twilio integration for SMS. It has some default like easy mode features that enable you to do cooler SMS stuff with your clients. So for example, you can send them a text message before an appointment. You can send an SMS as well as an email in your ticket comments. And you can have multiple phone numbers that you text from. So there's a lot of cool advantages from this Twilio thing. You can send mailer campaigns, as Crystal is showing, but SMS instead of just email. So if you, for example, wanted to send, a use case here would be, I think the one that we used in the video is that if your ISP is down in your area and you want to text message every single one of your clients and let them know, like, hey, we know about this. I don't know, Comcast is down, and don't worry about it. It's not in our control or something, right? You could send that SMS out to everyone, and that would be a really quick way to do that. However, there is like a more advanced mode kind of thing here, and I want to just say up front, we're not going to provide support for this part. So you're on your own if you want to do this, which is why you have to click the checkbox to enable advanced mode. But Twilio has a really cool thing called Twilio Studio that essentially enables you to build like a phone tree. It's like a whole thing. It's like a phone tree, but for SMS. So if you've ever used like a chat bot on your phone, where like your dentist or something like texts you and says, hey, are you going to be available for your appointment tomorrow? Like reply with 1 if true and 0 and we'll cancel and reschedule. And like they used to have a person call. You can do that stuff with Twilio Studio. You can build this whole like AI chat bot. It's pretty amazing and awesome, and the possibilities are kind of endless and up to your imagination. And this enables you to do that like using Syncro. So it's pretty awesome. I recommend checking it out, and we're not gonna support it because it's, yeah, you're on your own, and it's very cool. Okay, that is all the stuff. Did I miss anything, Crystal?
No, got it. Thank you. I was just starting to look. One thing I will say, we're gonna go through and do some live Q&A. Before we do that, I think it's also worth mentioning, I mean, you know, in the last 6 weeks, as you can see, these were huge features, but like, we're not even covering the list of just like, you know, little small things, or if you reported a bug or something like that. Like, we have been working diligently to, you know, really make the quality of life awesome. So like, there's like this whole other list of things that Ian and I are just not going to go through because it's not as fun as showing all of this stuff, but it's worth mentioning. And then with that, we'll kind of hop over to the Q&A. Definitely Q&A is easiest for us to manage. So if you don't mind using the Q&A for your questions, it's really helpful, and we can kind of like organize them in a little bit better of a way. So the first question from Larry, is there a way to update online, offline status of an asset? I have been seeing assets showing offline that I could actually Synchro Live into. I mean, I've seen folks like literally go into a policy and resave a policy, and it like immediately like syncs the asset again. That's like a total workaround, but I don't know if Ian has something different to say.
I mean, theoretically, you should never have to do that. It should always be up to date. It's possible there's a little bit of lag time, but it shouldn't be much. And if you are seeing some kind of unusual activity there, that's probably more like something to report to us so we can look at it. You shouldn't have to do some kind of workaround to get the thing to be, yeah. And it's worth saying that like Synchro Live and the Synchro, what do we call it? The big app, the Windows, there's actually 2 different services that run. One is Synchro Live and one is the Synchro agent. So, you know, one could theoretically be offline while the other is online. However, the way they work, they should always be online at the same time. So,
Yes,
it's probably just something for us to look into.
Yeah. A couple questions, Ian, regarding chat. Wanting to know, is chat going to be included in the mobile app?
We have plans. That is not as quick as the other stuff that was asked for, but we do have plans for that.
Yes. Okay. Next, just so we can get this one kind of addressed also, update on the Mac agent. I saw it a little bit over in the chat. We do have a Mac agent in beta. You can actually request that. You can just, I think you could do that self-serve now. And
yeah,
so you can just do it if you go to create an asset here. But maybe if you want to speak at all to that, Ian, any updates there, but all you have to do is start creating a new RMM agent installer. And then if you hit Mac, if you're not in the beta, you can request it right from here. It'll go to technical support. They'll enable it on your account.
Yeah, there's a lot of work to do in the Mac agent, and it's on our list. I don't have a timeline though.
Okay, doke. Couple things. Let's see. Great. Toby loves the new breakdown for the alerts on the mobile app. Any chance of that view or grouping coming to the web? I think there's probably some UI, you know, changes as far as alerts, because I mean, right now, the alerts, the way that they're set here, more of like a list format. Obviously, they're sortable and that kind of thing. But yeah, happy to hear any feedback if you have specifics there. Eric, any plans to allow attaching a chat to an existing ticket? I've heard this one being chatted about. I've heard this one being talked about, but I don't necessarily know if it's planned just yet. But I've definitely heard this request.
Attaching chat to an existing ticket. Oh, I see.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think I've heard that too. I don't know the status of that.
Okay. Let's see here. Is there a way to select multiple customers to archive? Not right now. They'd have to be done individually. I don't know if you did like a mass CSV export, if there's an option to do it that way. There might be, but not in-app.
I don't think so. I can answer this GDPR one.
Cool.
We're GDPR compliant, and we're also Privacy Shield certified. So there's nothing for you to worry about. If you're in the EU, we're compliant with all that stuff. And you can actually check that out on our website. At the very bottom in the footer of the website, you can see all the like compliances we have. So we're also CCPA compliant, which is the California compliancy, like privacy stuff, which is like pretty intense. And so, yeah, nothing to worry about there.
Great. I'm going to just grab one. Eliza, hopefully I'm saying that right. Is there any way to receive a notification on email 1 month before a contract expires without using reminders or reoccurring invoices? Not that I know of. So yeah, in reoccurring invoices, there's just a checkbox for you to get reminded before that contract expires. It actually creates a ticket for you. The only other way, I guess you could like create a ticket and then make it reoccurring to occur then maybe. Other than that, I can't think of one.
I can't think of one either.
Let's see. Oh, I can answer this one too. First question, when I have 220 assets come up in a custom search, is there a way to select all 3 pages of results to run an action on? Not currently. This came up last week, brought it to the team, so I think we're looking at that. And then the next question, when I create a new custom search, is there an option to only display assets that are currently online in the results?
Can't you, isn't there a column? I could be wrong.
There's there's this column.
Yeah, I thought
You mean,
if you go to customize, is there not a column? I thought we had one. Yeah, I'm probably wrong. It's happened.
No, I'm not seeing that. The only other thing I was going to see is if it's something that it's not a filter, is it? That you could just, I know we have like last checked in, but no, it's probably not on here.
Yeah, I don't think it's in there.
Okay.
Apparently not.
How do you install Synchro remotely to be able to provide remote support for a customer? One way that you could do that is you could create a ticket for them and actually just send the installer link via the ticket. So we did update this a couple of months ago to make this far easier with everything that's going on with COVID-19. So if you just go into a ticket, you'll see that you can email them an RM agent installer from here, and you can actually pick which policy now. So if this is just a break fix, maybe one off, you could have just a base policy that has no monitoring enabled and email that over to them. I think that's especially if it's kind of like a one off type of thing.
Yeah, and then they would just download that and install it for you. That's the easiest way to do it. Here, this one from Justin about third-party patching. You want to do that one?
Yeah, when doing a new system build, is there any way to force third-party patching to run and install all the assigned applications? So this is just via the policy, yeah? Is that where you were going?
Yep.
Yeah, so on any policy, and maybe if there's an addition to this question, Justin, but so on any policy here, you can set up a third-party application patch management policy. So I'll just pop this out into a new screen and just show you. And we've added a ton of updates here as well, just recently, but you have these pre-built applications here, but now you have access to the entire chocolatey backend like database. So any application here that you would want to push and install for, you could have it just selected to install and update. And when that policy is installed, it'll just automatically do that.
Yeah, and if you have it to set to like install and update, when you're doing a new system build, it will do all that stuff in the background automatically if the application isn't there. So you don't have to force it. It's gonna just do it. I think the order of operations is it like installs the application, it runs through a bunch of checks, monitoring checks and stuff. Then it installs any missing applications that you have checked here. So it'll do it like automatically, probably within, it'll start installing stuff probably within a couple minutes.
Yep. Awesome. Mark wants to know any talks to add Sophos integration.
At this point, I've talked to like every antivirus company ever, including Sophos. We don't have immediate plans to add a Sophos integration. It is a lot of work every time we add an antivirus integration, and having 3 antiviruses already feels like a lot. We're not opposed to it, to be clear. It's just that there are other features that are asked for much more frequently now than one more antivirus. And it's nothing against Sophos. It's just we like building things and we want to sort them by how many people are asking for them.
Exactly. Speaking of any news on HTML emails for tickets. So definitely a big request. I don't know if it's necessarily on the roadmap quite yet, but I will definitely add a check there. I was going to grab this one from Christopher. One of my texts said he can't create an installer. What permission is he missing? Okay, so if you go to your admin section, and depending on which security group this technician is in, it's actually, if I remember correct, but let's just go there together. It's this asset create. That includes RMM assets.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Yep. So that would be the one that they would need.
Okay, Loving Synchro. I currently use this for MSP business clients. Would you recommend this for remote support for residential MSP clients versus Kabuto? At this point, Synchro is just better than Kabuto in almost every way. Pretty much every way. The only thing that's in Kabuto right now that isn't in Synchro, which actually can be in Synchro if you want it to, is the like pop-up notification things in the bottom right that say like your hard drive space is running low. Click here to request service. However, using the new like system tray stuff we have, you can basically replicate that anyway. It would take 10 minutes or whatever to write the stuff out, but you could do that. And so other than that, there's no reason you couldn't use this for residential stuff. I mean, we charge you per technician, so like the business model still works. And yeah, you just have more power. Let's see. Did I hear that the web GUI may be getting an update to be more efficient? We're always making it more efficient. There isn't like one thing that makes it more or less efficient. It's more like 1,000 things or 10,000 things. So if there's something in particular you're referring to, let us know. But there isn't like one update that's going to happen that's going to change the whole UI, if that makes sense.
Ian, do you know this? Because I just was looking at the article and I don't. Does archiving a customer also archive their assets?
Oh, I don't remember.
Yeah.
And I don't want to give them the wrong answer.
I don't either. Derek I'll see if I can find out for you before this is done. Hey, thanks, Shane. Says, first of all, you guys rock. Woohoo! Did something change in script output logs recently? Longer logs that I have are now truncated in both the initial summary page and the full file link. Do you know, Ian?
I don't know of a change like that. Send us an email. We'll look at it for you.
Cool. Let's see. Is there a way to send a confirmation email to the person who created it from the Tray app? If I remember correctly, if there is a contact assigned to that asset, it should do like your normal ticket automation, but I can double check that, Jerry, because I don't want to promise anything on that. Let's see here, what else? There's a Hipaa one in here. Ian, do you want to look at that one? The time's at 9:50.
Yeah, sure. So the question is, I'm new to Hipaa and still learning about rules and regulations. My understanding is that a system only needs to be Hipaa compliant if it is being used to store patient information and medical records. Can you explain what changes were made to Synchro in order to be Hipaa compliant? Yeah, so first of all, let me say, like, I'm not the perfect person on the team to answer this question. So there are people that have deeper knowledge of all of this and like drove it. I have understanding of it, but I wasn't the one doing the work. So I think there are probably, like, we can get you even deeper answers than I can provide if that is necessary. Okay. Yes, Hipaa compliance is for medical information. So if you have customers that are dentists or doctors or store any kind of like personally identifiable health information, then you have to be Hipaa compliant. They have to be Hipaa compliant. Or let me start this way. They have to be Hipaa compliant because they're the ones working with the medical records. If you at any point touch those, then they're going to need you to sign a BAA because of liability and legal stuff. And you need any of your vendors who touch any of that PHI to be signing a BAA. And so although that stuff should never be in Synchro, many people ask us to sign a BAA, which is fine and makes sense. So on our end, we did a full audit we did a ton of stuff over the last like couple of years, basically. Everything from like paying bounty hunters to find any vulnerability they could, and we paid them tons of money and then fixed stuff, getting like pen testing done, there's like all this like policies stuff you have to write up. They're like literally written documents about how you're going to respond in various situations. And they have to be like written in a certain way, and you have to have like, there's a whole checklist of them. There's like the actual process for how we sign the BAAs, and like, you know, basically what you see when you go to the app card, like here's the process for how we'll sign a BAA for you. There's a whole like auditing process where they go through everything that you have in your whole company. It's stuff like, what access to information do your employees have? Like, what safeguards do you have in place? Like, how would you know if you got hacked? All kind, like, do you have antivirus on all your employees' computers? All this stuff, right? And most of it's like we're already doing, but you have to like go through the whole audit process. So it's a lot of stuff, and it was a lot of work, and it's done. So I can't go into like all the exact specifics, mostly because I wasn't the one doing the work, but I was watching. So I hope that answers your question. Okay, what's next?
Let's see. There's just a couple questions on updates, just in general, roadmap updates, as well as SNMP.
We do not have a public roadmap. It is based on, we have an internal roadmap. It's based on all the feedback we get from you submitting tickets, what you say on webinars, what you tell our sales folks, what you tell our tech support folks, what you say on social media. We watch everything. We keep tallies of stuff and how often it's asked for, and that's how we decide what to build. Obviously, there's also like a balance of how big a thing is versus how quick a thing is. You know, if you could have 10 things versus one thing, you know, so there's lots of stuff to balance, and we've got different devs and they have different talents and skills and specialties. So it's all a big taking lots of data and turning it into a roadmap that makes sense.
Yes, all of that. I'm gonna share my screen really quick, mostly because let's see here. I want to look at. Let me make sure I'm sharing the right screen. Okay. What I was going to look at is, the question is, if you set a script to run tomorrow, but then decide that you don't want that script to run, how do you stop it once it's scheduled? I thought there was a couple ways, but I want to just verify that we've got a little bit of time. I guess we only have 3 minutes, but I was going to look if scripts, if you have anything, this is a reoccurring script. I believe that if you have anything like pending, I think you can delete it from here.
And in the script queue, so if it wasn't a recurring script, then it would be in the script queue there, and you could click cancel. I think there's another page you can go to. Can you go to the scripts page?
I think I think you can see like there's a column for like scheduled runs. Is that what you're looking at?
Yeah, so scheduled runs there, you can see 12, and then if you click the the ellipses, you can click scheduled runs. And then this is for this particular script, all the scheduled runs, and you can
awesome.
delete them.
Okay, hopefully that helps, Jerry.
I wanted to address this thing from Justin. I think he asked earlier about like how quickly it installs third-party patching. I think what he's trying to do is slightly different from what I was thinking about. So I was thinking you already have the policy, and you for the asset, and you install the asset. Or you install the agent, and the package that you downloaded, you already picked that policy. I think what you're saying, correct me if I'm wrong, Justin, is you are installing it, say, with like a base policy, and then you're switching the policy to a different policy, and you want to know how quickly it switches policies. Because once it switches policies, as long as it's running, it should do it immediately. But what happens is it might only be checking once every, say, there's different timers. So like every 15 minutes, every hour, every 6 hours, every 24 hours, and different things are checked at different intervals. What you can do, I don't know where the policy change check happens, but what you can do if you want to is if you restart the computer, actually, if you turn the service, you don't even have to restart the computer. It's just, that's a hack to make it simpler to explain. If you stop the Synchro service and then start the Synchro service, it should trigger that sync. Yeah. Otherwise, it'll happen anyway, but it just might take longer.
And when you do change the policy, you could even again, you can open up a policy, resave it, and it'll push that sync right away if you made any changes, or if you change the policy on an asset, it takes on those new changes. That's the one that happens right away. Let's see, we're at 10. Do you want to answer a few more questions since we were late?
I mean, we have more time. We thought we were starting right now.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I have an hour blocked right now.
Yeah, so let's just answer the rest of the questions. Okay, may have to demo this, but as I am considering an AV program to use with Synchro, any recommendation for best, simplest, easy to use? Got it. I was leaning towards the MC soft, although Bitdefender web route seemed to be popular. I will say, and Chris will chime in if you have other opinions. I think that you're gonna get some pretty opinionated camps, like tribes around this, and I think most of the evidence that I've heard is anecdotal. So I think as long as you have an AB on there and it's one of the three, it's good. I think that personally I like Webroot and Bitdefender a little more for like larger business clients. There are some features that MCSoft doesn't have. I think for like smaller, less sophisticated clients, MCSoft is pretty good. It just depends, and you might like one more than the other. So it's up to you. I think they're all fine. You'll see a lot of people that are like, I had a horrible experience with this one, and then like someone else will have had an incredible experience with it and a horrible experience with the other one. So none of them are perfect, and pick the one you like. That's what I would say.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I say too. I think like you're saying, the main thing, I think one of the main differences, obviously you can install them all very simple from the policy. Bitdefender and Webroot, you know, to manage those machines, you are using their portal. The settings are incredibly granular, and specifically with Bitdefender, there are a ton of add-ons. So like email security, there's like, it has a larger package for you to be able to offer and sell your customers. So if you are heavy on security and want to offer like everything that's available out there, you know, Bitdefender, it's their full gravity zone portal with a ton of add-ons. So I think it just depends on, like Ian said, what level either the customer is asking for or what you're selling, essentially.
Right. Bitdefender has like the sandbox stuff and like exchange and all that, and like encryption and all this other stuff that the other folks don't really have. So if your client has the appetite to pay a little more to be more secure, I think Bitdefender is the best choice. If we're talking about just purely antivirus, then it's a little more like even, I would say.
Yeah, I agree. Justin wants to know, is there any reason for an MSP to not enable HIPAA compliance, even if they don't need it currently, just in case someday we get an opportunity in the medical field, we'd already have that checkbox?
You're taking on some liability, I would say. Let me generalize a little bit more. Don't sign legal agreements if you don't have to. You're signing a BAA, right? So you're taking on liability, and I don't think it's like that big a deal. But just so you know, the process from not signing the BAA with us to signing it, it's like a matter of like maybe a couple days, maybe same day. So it's not like you're going to be hindered from signing that client on because of this. It's, you know, we make the process really quick.
Yes. David wants to know, I have the tray icon hidden for some clients. Will that affect the ability to use chat? Well, they definitely wouldn't be able to chat with you if they didn't have the system tray icon. What I don't know is if you could initiate a chat. Do you know that, Ian? Can the technician still initiate a chat?
I think so. I think it would just pop up.
I think so too. I think that it's just that your customers would not be able to initiate that.
Right. That's my understanding too.
Okay. Let's see. Jonathan, if you, for like the first part of your question, I think that if that is something you're experiencing, I would definitely highlight which asset that is and drop an email to help@syncromsp.com. But yes, a policy updates if you have it set to like update data or whatever you have in the policy. If the endpoint's offline, it should do all of the things when it comes online, just like scripting, to answer that part of the question.
Okay, I want to revise my statement. Sometimes you should sign legal documents. Sometimes it does make sense to sign legal documents, so I shouldn't generalize in that way. In this case, it's probably unnecessary.
Okay. Yeah, I noticed that when you switch from AV policy to base, it removes MCSoft, for example. I didn't get a chance to test this with WebRoot and Bitdefender. Does switching the policy to base remove these AV programs as well? Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, I have not looked at the chat at all. Did we miss anything over there? Our Q&A is now.
Someone wants an update on SNMP. Stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
It would be nice to filter the API checkboxes so I can type customer and see API rights list for matching items. Yeah, so we kind of designed this on purpose to be, it sounds weird, but we kind of designed this on purpose to be annoying. Normally we wouldn't design it this way, but the best practice in like security world is to make it so people have to click the stuff on purpose that they want. And so that's why there's no select all checkbox, because like that's not actually, you don't ever really need a thing that has select all. So I think we could make it a little easier to search, but I think this was designed a little bit, this page in particular, to not, you have to be very deliberate on this page on purpose. So yes.
Yeah. The other thing, I was just going to grab this one from Justin because I think that we brought this up, and I think this is actually something that might happen, but I wanting to just change the wording in the client portal, instead of it saying add a credit card to add a payment method. So for those of you that have WorldPay enabled, for example, for your customers to be able to use their credit card, there is also an option to set up ACH payments. And so right now it does say add a credit card. So it would.
That makes sense.
That makes a lot of sense.
I'm going to copy and paste this one.
Mm-hmm.
Smart.
Yes. Well, sweet. I think things are slowing down. This was recorded, so if you were in and out, came late like we did, you're welcome to rewatch this. We'll post it on the YouTube channel. Did you want to grab that? Or should I grab that one? Last one. Speaking of a client portal, is there any way to get a better view of the client's assets for the client? Oh.
What would you want them to be able to see?
Yeah, I'd be.
Right now, I think it shows asset name, serial, and let's just go look.
Yep, I'm gonna look here.
They want all the asset info. What do they want to do with it? Like, what's the use case? What happens when you click view all there? Okay. Is this like internal? Is your customer, they have an internal IT person and they want to be able to view that stuff? Like, got it. And what do they want to be able to do? They want to be able to run scripts, or they want to see alerts? They just want everything?
No, just view.
Okay, so one thing you can do here is, I don't know if this is what you want, but you want to show them single customer permissions.
Mm-hmm.
So we made a special type of user for this exact use case, where it's a user that has access to only one customer. So you can, and then you can choose what they can and can't do. And this basically makes it so they can log into Synchro rather than their customer portal, and they can view, in your case, you only want them to be able to view assets, so you can just only check that box. This does cost money, But what we've seen people do here is just charge the customer for it, because it's like, oh, you want extra functionality that we don't normally provide? Like, all right, fine, we'll make a special case for you, but we're going to charge you $150 a month for it. And that's, people generally, when they have like an internal IT person, they get that. It is an agent license. This was like the best way we could think of to do it. So anyway, let's take this last question from Justin. We can currently filter tickets by client. Is there any way to filter the ticket list by contact? I'm often talking to someone and need to find out that specific person's old tickets, but of course it's for a client with a huge ticket volume and it's like finding a needle in a haystack.
Contact. Here, and you can filter, I mean.
That would work if it was, can you open up the Safe Search?
Yeah.
I don't think you can do what he's asking for. You could search all fields for the name of the person. That might work.
Mm-hmm.
Let's try it.
Try it.
Try searching Crystal. Yeah.
Wrong keyboard. Sorry.
Yeah. So I think if you do that, oh, name can't be blank. Yeah. Well, it's fine.
Created. Right. Okay.
I think if you do this, I think it'll work, and then you would sort by contact.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that should work. Obviously, you kind of have to make a new Safe Search every time, which is a little annoying, but.
Yes. It'll sort, but it won't filter. Yep.
Okay, let's call it.
All righty. Okay. Well, thank you all so much for joining us. We love doing these. You can catch the recording on our YouTube channel. But I hope you all have a lovely rest of your day. Thanks for joining us. Bye.